Imagine waking up one day and realizing you smell like something dead. No matter how much you scrub, no matter how much perfume you use, it won't go away. That's exactly what happened to Chiama after she received a mysterious gift. But what she didn't know was that this gift came with a curse. Chiama had always been the kind of woman people noticed. She had a presence, the way she laughed, the way she carried herself with confidence. People loved her. Her friends adored her. Her boyfriend Tunde couldn't stop talking about how lucky he was to have her. But everything changed the night she received that gift. It was late evening when she arrived home from work. She climbed the stairs to her apartment when she noticed something at her door. A small, beautifully wrapped box. No sandal, no name, just a little note tucked under the ribbon. For the most beautiful woman, may this make you even more unforgettable. Chiama smirked. An admirer, she picked up the box and stepped inside. The moment she locked the door behind her, she sank into her couch and ran her fingers over the wrapping. Who could have sent this? Tunde maybe. But he wasn't the type to leave anonymous gifts. And her best friend, Gina? No, Gina would have given it to her in person with a big speech. Her curiosity grew stronger. She untied the ribbon, carefully lifted the lid, and gasped softly. Inside, nestled in soft white tissue paper, was a sleek golden bottle of body spray. Chiama picked it up, turned it in her hands, and uncapped it. A deep, rich scent drifted into the air. It was sweet yet musky. She smiled. Whoever sent this had good taste. Without thinking twice, she sprayed it on her wrist and rubbed it against her neck. For a moment, it was perfect. The scent wrapped around her like a warm embrace, making her feel even more confident. But then, something changed. A strange undertone crept in beneath the fragrance. Faint, almost sour. Chiama frowned and lifted her wrist to her nose again. The sweet smell was still there, but underneath it, there was something else. She shook her head and chuckled. Maybe it's just strong at first. She placed the bottle on her bedside table and went to take a shower. When she came out, dressed in her silk nightwear, she sniffed her wrist again. The weird undertone was gone. Only the floral scent was there. She had no idea that this one spray would change her life forever. Chiama woke up the next morning feeling refreshed. The golden body spray had settled into her skin overnight, leaving behind a rich floral scent. She got dressed carefully, choosing a fitted green dress that hugged her figure. As always, she wanted to look her best. Before leaving, she grabbed the bottle of body spray from her bedside table and gave herself one last spritz. The scent hit her again, sweet, musky, powerful. She stepped out of her apartment. She slid into the back seat of a yellow taxi, greeted the driver, and leaned back. That's when she noticed it. The driver wrinkled his nose. At first, he didn't say anything, just rolled down the window. Chiama frowned. Is he allergic to my perfume or something? A minute passed. Then another. The driver kept sniffing the air, his face twisting in disgust. Then he finally muttered, Mahem, I think something is rotting in here. Chiama's stomach dropped. What? She asked, forcing out a laugh. The man glanced at her in the rearview mirror. Do you smell that? It's like spoiled meat or a dead rat. Chiama froze. She quickly lifted her wrist to her nose. The sweet floral scent was gone. In its place was something foul, putrid, unbearable. A wave of nausea hit her. She could barely breathe through it. She rubbed her wrist against her dress, trying to get rid of it. Nothing changed. The driver covered his nose with a handkerchief and rolled down all the windows. Sorry, ma'am, he muttered, shaking his head. I can't. You have to get out. Chiama stared at him. Are you serious? He didn't answer, just unlocked the doors. Humiliation burned her face as she climbed out onto the street. People were staring. Her perfect morning had turned into a nightmare. By the time she arrived at work, she had scrubbed her wrists with tissue paper, distract herself from the lingering smell. Maybe it was just in her head, maybe it was something in the taxi. But as soon as she stepped into the office, she knew it wasn't. Headstand. A colleague at the front desk immediately covered her nose. "Oh my God, what is that?" Someone near the coffee machine muttered, "Did something die in here?" Chiama's heartbeat thundered. She walked fast, trying to ignore the whispers. She made it to her desk, dropped into her chair, but the smell was still there, clinging to her. Tunde, her boyfriend, walked on the same floor. He came over, as he always did in the mornings, but the moment he reached her desk, he stopped mid-step, his face twisted in horror. "Chiama Aku, what is that?" Her throat tightened. "What do you mean?" He stepped back. "You smell like something rotten." His words stabbed her. "Tunde, it's just perfume." She tried to laugh. "Maybe it's not mixing well with—" "No, Chiama." He cut in, his voice cold. "This isn't perfume. It's disgusting." Pain shot through her chest, and then the final humiliation. Her boss stepped out of his office, a tall, strict-looking man who never smiled. He waved her over. The entire office went silent. Chiama stood frozen. She already knew what was coming, but as soon as she stepped into his office, he covered his nose. "Chiama." He paused, choosing his words carefully. "I don't know what's happening, but this—" He gestured toward her. "This is unacceptable." Her body went cold. "You need to handle this," he continued. "Take some time off if necessary, but you can't be in the office like this." Chiama clenched her fists. She wanted to scream. Instead, she swallowed the lump of humiliation in her throat and walked out of the office. She grabbed her bag, kept her head down, and left, ignoring the whispers, ignoring the looks of disgust. She locked herself in her apartment and scrubbed her skin raw. She tried lemon, salt, vinegar, charcoal. Nothing worked. No matter what she did, the stench stayed. She texted Gina, "I think something's wrong with me." Minutes later, Gina was at her door. She heard it, a voice outside. Gina's voice. Through the open window, she heard her best friend talking to someone else. "She doesn't know yet," Gina whispered. "But she will soon," the stranger replied. Her heartbeat pounded in her ears. Gina knew something, and she wasn't telling her. Chiama stood frozen near the window. She had heard Gina's voice clearly. "She doesn't know yet, but she will soon." What did Gina mean? A wave of betrayal crept up her spine. Gina had been her best friend for years, the one person who had stood by her side when the whole office turned against her, when Tunde left. But now, this. Chiama's hands curled into fists. She wanted to rush outside, confront Gina, demand the truth, but something held her back. She needed proof. That night she tossed and turned in bed, unable to sleep. The stench still clung to her, a constant reminder of whatever was happening to her. By morning, she had made up her mind. She needed answers. There was an old prophet in the city, a man known for revealing hidden truths. People whispered about his abilities. Chiama had never believed in such things before. But desperation changes people. She wrapped a scarf around her head, put on oversized sunglasses, and made her way to the prophet's small house on the outskirts of the city. The place was dark and quiet, with the smell of burning incense in the air. The old man sat cross-legged on the floor, his piercing eyes looking right through her. Before she could even speak, he said, "You have been cursed. Someone close to you has done this." The prophet continued, his voice calm yet heavy. Her stomach twisted. "Gina," she whispered. The prophet shook his head. "No." Chiama blinked. "No?" The old man's expression was unreadable. "You have accused the wrong person." "But I heard her talking," she insisted. The prophet closed his eyes for a moment. then spoke again. There is another. A man, he watches you. He wants you broken so you will need him. Chiama's heart pounded. A man? Her mind raced through possibility. Then a single name clicked in her mind. Saif. Saif had been an old friend, someone she had known since university. He had always been kind, always there when she needed advice. When her problems started, he had been the first to offer help. He had brought her herbal remedies, sat with her late into the night, telling her she wasn't alone. But now the prophet's words echoed in her ears. A man who watches you, a man who wants you vulnerable. Could it really be Saif? As if the universe had been listening to her thoughts, her phone buzzed. Saif, his text read, I'm coming over. I think I found a way to help you. Chiama's fingers shook as she typed a reply. Okay. Saif arrived an hour later, carrying a small bag filled with bottles of oil and powders. He smiled warmly. I've been doing some research. I think I found a remedy for your problem. Chiama forced a smile, but inside her stomach churned. She let him in and watched as he pulled out different herbs and mixtures, talking about their healing powers. Then, as he spoke, something caught her eye. A small receipt sticking out of his bag. A receipt from the perfume shop for the exact same body spray she had received as a gift. Slowly, she picked up the receipt, her fingers trembling. Saif stopped talking when he saw what she was holding. His face drained of color. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. Then, in a voice that didn't sound like hers, Chiama whispered, It was you. Saif's eyes darted around, as if looking for an escape. Then finally, he sighed. Chiama, listen. You did this to me, she interrupted, her voice shaking. You cursed me. His face twisted with something strange, guilt, regret. I didn't mean to hurt you, he admitted. I loved you, Chiama. I always have, but you never saw me. You never needed me. Chiama stared at him, disgusted. So you decided to break me. Saif lowered his head. I thought, if you had no one else, if you were desperate, you would turn to me. Her stomach churned. This man had poisoned her life, had made her a joke, had driven away everyone she loved, just so she would become dependent on him. The betrayal was too much. Her voice came out cold and sharp. Get out! Saif looked up, shocked. Chiama, please, get out! She screamed, grabbing the bottle of casset perfume and throwing it at the wall. The bottle shattered into pieces. He hesitated for just a second, then turned and left. Chiama stood in the middle of her apartment. The smell still clung to her like a second skin, rotten, unbearable, suffocating. But now she knew the truth. I will not let him win. Chiama picked up her phone and did something she never thought she would. She called Gina. There was a long pause before her friend answered. Chiama? Gina's voice was cautious, hesitant. Chiama swallowed her pride. I was wrong about you, Gina. Her voice cracked. I thought you betrayed me, but you didn't. Gina was silent for a moment. Then she sighed. Chiama, I never left you. Gina had been innocent all along. Please, Chiama whispered. I need your help. Gina didn't hesitate. Meet me at Mama Nkechi's place, she said. Mama Nkechi was a powerful healer, a woman known for undoing dark magic. Chiama had never believed in these things before, but after everything, she wasn't taking chances. That evening, she and Gina arrived at Mama Nkechi's shrine. The old woman sat in the center, her deep eyes watching Chiama closely. You carry a heavy curse, she said, given to you through a gift. Chiama nodded slowly. Can you remove it? Mama Nkechi didn't answer. Instead, she gestured for Chiama to sit in front of her. The ritual began. The old woman sprinkled white chalk powder around Chiama, muttering words in a language Chiama didn't understand. She placed a bowl of water in front of her. Look inside, she instructed. Chioma hesitated, then leaned over the bowl. At first she saw nothing but her reflection. Then the water swelled. A vision appeared. Saif standing in a shop, buying the body spray. Saif holding the bottle, whispering something over it. Saif placing it at her door. Chioma gasped. Mama Nkechi's voice pulled her back. To break this, you must destroy the source. Chioma frowned. The body spray? The old woman nodded. Burn it, and you must say these words. Let what was sent to harm me return to its sender. Saif, you will regret ever doing this to me. Back at home, Chioma placed the golden body spray on her balcony floor. Gina stood beside her, holding a box of matches. Chioma stared at the bottle. This small, innocent-looking thing had ruined her life, but not anymore. She struck a match. As the flame touched the bottle, a strange wind blew through the air. Chioma spoke the words Mama Nkechi had given her. The smell was gone. Chioma breathed in. For the first time in weeks, she felt normal again. Gina grabbed her hands. It's over, Chioma. Chioma exhaled. Not yet. There was one more thing left to do. The next morning, Chioma stood outside Saif's house. She knocked. When the door swung open, Saif's face lit up. Chioma, he said, acting as if nothing had happened. I was just thinking about you. Chioma stared at him. Oh, really? She stepped inside, her eyes scanning the room. She spotted his bottle of cologne on the table. Perfect. Casually, she walked over and picked it up. Saif frowned. What are you doing? Chioma turned to him, her expression calm, cold. Just making things even. Before he could react, he capped the bottle and whispered the exact same words he had used to curse her. Then she handed it back to him. Saif blinked in confusion. What was that? He scoffed. Chioma smirked. You'll see. She turned and walked away. For good. Behind her, Saif sniffed the air. Then, his face twisted in horror. A second later, he gagged, and for the first time, Chioma smiled. Days later, Chioma sat at a cafe with Gina, laughing, feeling free. She had gotten her job back. The office apologized for how they had treated her. Tunde, he came back begging for a second chance. She shut the door in his face. As for Saif, well, people whispered about a certain man who suddenly developed a strange, disgusting smell that wouldn't leave him. Chioma simply sipped her coffee. Gina smirked. So, would you ever accept a random gift again? Chioma grinned. Not in this lifetime. Hey guys, have you ever received any gift that changed your life in any way? Share your valuable thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for everything.